I kept trying to learn because I was a big fan of the Taken series when it came out. Maybe not so much Taken 4, because that was a little long, but I was a big fan of Liam Neeson at that time. He always spoke like this, very serious. Now, I didn't know he had an Irish accent. Maybe I just didn't have a catalog of what Irish accents sound like. But, and I didn't like that whole interview, but this was prior to that. But, I just liked his accent. I just liked his voice. He was a good actor. He was just like, I'm serious. Life is always serious. I talk like this, and I look in the moonlight as stare my enemies in the eye. But it's weird because it's like, you hear it if you pay attention. But for me, I just thought, this is a cool dude's voice. This guy's voice is awesome. Every day I go outside and I see wonders. I wonder all the time. I look at my enemies every day. Like, I didn't really imagine it to be a Irish accent. I just seen it to be his accent. Just his voice. This is kind of weird because it's almost like a Bill Burr's accent. I mean, I guess he's from Boston, so you hear, "Hey guys," but it's never like. I guess what intrigued me was like the high pitch, like when he get pissed. I'm talking like this. I'm gonna do this all the time. But it was more so just like the low voice, the lower register. I'm talking like this, guys. I'm not trying to do this anymore. Guys, you guys just trying to talk to me. I don't really play the game anymore. it's like when he's talking to people, he's like, yeah, I guess it's just whatever. It's not really that much of a deal. Or you're just like, guys, I'm just an idiot. I'm just a dancing clown, Hank. But it's what get me the most is when he's at that lower part. God, like it's like he's smoldering. Guys, I don't really want to do this anymore. Like it's before he blows up. He get real low. Guys, okay, that's fine. Guys, you really got pissed me off right now. I'm not really interested anymore. I don't want to do this anymore, guys. I don't want to do this anymore. You just be pissed. You can tell it's just bubbling under the surface. I don't want to do this anymore. Guys, this is not really what I was planning today. God, all right, fine. Yeah, I just found him to be funny. I'm a big fan of voices. They just, after I can't remember what he said. A green light. I'm thinking Unleashed with Jet Li's Unleashed, which is such a great movie. Oh my God, it's such a great movie. I remember I was talking to a guy who happened to be Asian. He didn't like the theme of it, and I totally understand. A guy being caged by another person and he's Asian is just not a good look. But I like the themes of what it meant, because it meant like somebody's livelihood is taken from them due to unforeseen circumstances, and just, man, I don't know, a bunch of bad things that happen. Like, but it's like this kid, this guy, this kid who's now like a young adult, which ironically, dude has a baby face, because when he started doing movies here in the US, this guy was like pushing 40. The guy, he was up there in age, which was really surprising. But he had a baby face, man, when he did Unleash. But my bad, back to my review. It's just like, he had you learn, like, this guy's bred for combat, or I hate to kind of say it like that, but he was trained to be a killer, essentially. His innocence stripped from him, and you could tell he has delayed development. Maybe not so much in terms of actual like neurological stuff, it's just socialization. Like, you can tell in the beginning, like, he's just like playing with his teddy bear, and he had this children's book, and it's so sad, and he's trained with this colic condition to fight people when he gets his colic brought off him. And man, I'm sorry, it's just one of my favorite movies because it just shows, like, unforeseen circumstances happen. He split up with his family, quote unquote family, and he just feel, this is the only form of comfort and protection that he has. And then he meets these people. I'm sorry, I'm welling up. He meets these people, and they're so good to him, and he just kind of doesn't really know how to take it. Initially, you got Morgan Freeman's character. He's talking to him, and initially he gets like surprised by this piano, and guy, he not really shook. He's just like, oh, you interested in the piano, and he tried to train him in the piano. He don't really care the context of what he's going through. He just is willing to help him out. And then, like, he bails because he has to go back to his family, but eventually he stumbles in there again due to, circumstances, plot. But, like, basically, they do well to kind of show, like, they keep running into each other, right? And I just think it's so cool because it's just, I don't know really personally how to do that, but it's like a good filmmaker to me just knows how to make things seem like it just happened. The main theme of the main plot, this greedy businessman, he's using his boy, he's manipulative, he's training this guy to be taught that, like, the world is unsafe and that he's a safe haven, and and then later on he's taught, like, no, you can actually decide for yourself. Sorry, because it's so wholesome, man. And then he meets this guy, right? And he meets Morgan Freeman. Jet Li's character meets Morgan Freeman's character. Sam, I think his name is Sam. I'm forgetting who Jet Li's character is, what he calls himself. Danny? Yeah, Danny. And he just, he meets him. I'm forgetting some stuff happened. So wait, what happened? Okay, the piano. Then they moved to another thing, which was like a jewelry store. And then he tries to train him. The business guy tries to train Danny into, like, kind of doing this more on autopilot or doing it based off like a signal. And he's like, hey, when this signal happens, I want you to come and help me. And, due to some stuff happens, it just doesn't happen. But I'm sorry, later on in the story, he runs into Sam, and then Sam is taking care of this girl, I forget her name. And, Sam is talking to this girl. He's just trying to get a hold of his family. Get a connection with his family, because, they take him in, because they ran into each other. He said, hey, you got a place to stay? And the thing is, he's scared, but it's like, it's not to infantilize him. I've seen like, in my opinion, trauma porn and not so much, not the literal thing, I don't know if that's a real thing, but I mean like the figurative description of continuously talking about slavery and not really having any realistic perceptions or ideas, just more so to assuage white guilt. But I'm saying, like, stuff that's like, this stuff happens. People are enslaved today, and people are in very controlling environments, and they have a lot of trauma that they have to deal with. And it just took this healthy family that is there, and they train. It's not training, but it technically is training. It's training your mind to just be, just to behave in a safer environment. And this is what happens. They train him. Something happens. He passes out, and he ends up in their house. And he's not with his old family anymore. He's with his new family, and you can just tell the difference. He's not in some cage. He's in a bed with a warm blanket and some pajamas. I'm sure he knows. He grabbed his hands. I'm sure he knows. He says his hands are rough, so he knows the hands of a young man. The guy Morgan Freeman plays as Sam. He's an older guy, so he has experience with what younger, because he's had young hands before, so he's like, he could tell, oh, this is a younger person, like he's okay, he's not going to be a problem, or he just thinks the best in him or something. But it's just like, I'm sure there was clues, especially as a guy who was blind, who he could piece together, like, oh, this guy is a lost soul, and he's had a lot of qualities, but you learn later in life that he's just so used to chaos that is normalized to him. And you learn throughout the story that, like, as they are trying to go grocery shopping, they see a bunch of stuff fighting happen, and he's freaking out. But the other guy's like, this is not a problem to me, you know. Well, they're not attacking me, so I have no issue with it. And he's like, he learns, like, you know, this guy's had a hard life. He's so used to chaos that it's just not an issue. If it's nothing that's directly involved with him, it's not a problem. Like, it's just little details like that that's like, man, this is so beautiful. Like, man, this, it's not beautiful, but the narrative storytelling that, like, yo, Danny has issues, not issues, but Danny has gone through a lot. He's had a hard life, but it doesn't tell you right just like up front, Danny, you've had a hard life. It's like, no, Danny, you see it in the clearer shown subtext that, like, yo, he hasn't had a normal life. And then you learn, man, like, you know, he's hearing things, he's remembering things, and this girl that I guess the guy's kind of taking care of or adopting or something like that, was parenting, the same as parenting. You learn that she's a musician, so she plays the piano. And then, ironically, Danny's mother plays the piano, or played the piano. I think she might have passed away. And you know, Danny learns, like, you know, oh, my mother was a pianist. And so she's like, you know, I think he was humming something, and she was like, oh, do you know what this is? Oh, I know what you're humming. You know, I guess she knows, you know. And she just helps him, and he has flashbacks, you know, maybe emotional flashbacks, of like, oh, I remember this is back in the day, you know, back in the time. Sorry, it reminds me so much of it because later during the story, he realizes that this guy, like, if it wasn't him, it was somebody else, but pretty much a mobster type guy took advantage of his wife. I mean, took advantage of his mother, and he was too weak to defend himself. My bad. The one thing that really get me is because near the end, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm just remembering the story. Because they teach him to be a human. You know, they teach him that his life is more than just being controlled and manipulated and discarded. And he's taught like his life can be more than being somebody's plaything or somebody's pet. Sorry, one thing that really got me was near the end when he learned it. When he was a child, he was powerless. And then near the end, his mother, I mean, in the flashback, his mother put him in the closet so she could protect him. And then this new family that he made, he puts them in the closet. I'm sorry. And then he says he's going to protect them. I'm sorry. Is this always because he protects his new family. And that's why it always got to me, because, you know, emotionally speaking, I've had my own issues, but it just got to me because, like, you know, he had a family that was so good. He had a family initially when he grew up. He had a terrible family. And then due to, like, a twist of fate, he got a good family who treated him right. And he found... And he found that family to be worth dying for, fighting for. And in the series, in the trailer, you know, he stops that collar from getting on his neck because they teach him, you know, that, like, you know, he says the guy who tried to bring him back in to the family, he says all is forgiven, you just need to come back home. And then he says, I am home. Like, this new family that I got is home. And I just thought that was so touching. That's why I was like, I understand the image of it is not good, but the fact that you can have a new family, it is better than what you thought it was, better than what your previous experiences was. That if there's good people around you, then you could be a better person. So even if you have, like, blood family and they treat you like crap, they invalidate your feelings, they treat you like a piece of garbage, that if you find good people around you, these people could be your good family. It could be truly your family, people who are really good to you. And I just thought that was it's such a powerful message. I don't know if people notice that, but it's such a powerful message, you know. And that is something worth fighting for. Good people around you. Not just people who just are willing to take advantage of you, you know, or validate your feelings, but people who actually care. Yeah, it's a powerful story. In fact, this kind of reminded me, I could be messing up the information, but this reminded me of Jet Li, where he had he was in this I guess him and his wife was on vacation, and then a disaster happened, and then he saw how everybody worked together to get people out of the disaster, and it made him rethink his life. And, you know, I don't know Jet Li like that. You know, from what I heard, he's a solid guy. You know, I think he's had, like, maybe a surgery or something like that, you know. But it's just like, it's stuff like that that just keeps reminding you what really matters, man. You know, and that there's some things you learn and you have to unlearn them, and you have to recalibrate your values. You know, you have to think, like, you know, hey, people will try to teach you bad lessons. And sometimes you got to relearn what it means to be human and be a person, and what matters more and stuff like that. So, yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, it branched off like that. I just figured I'd discuss my favorite, one of my favorite movies. You know, I got a few of them, but that's actually one of them for that reason. Yeah, that's it. My bad.